There was a time in my life when everything seemed to unravel at once. I remember waking up each morning with a pit in my stomach, dreading the day ahead. It felt as if I was constantly bracing myself for the next disappointment, the next failure, the next wave of uncertainty that would knock me off balance. It began with small, seemingly inconsequential mishaps, tiny ripples that, at first, felt like mere annoyances. An order I had eagerly awaited was marked as delivered and left at my front door, yet no matter how many times I searched, it was nowhere to be found. Hoping for a quick resolution, I reached out to customer service, only to receive a scripted apology and a rejection of a replacement request. Instead, they insisted I keep searching around my house, as if the package might magically appear. Frustration tightened in my chest. It wasn't just the lost package, it was the helplessness. Days later, during what was supposed to be routine dental cleaning, the crown on one of my teeth unexpectedly dislodged, leaving me with an urgent and costly problem to fix. It felt like life wasn't just throwing obstacles my way, it was chipping away at me, piece by piece. Even mundane errands turned into trials. At the grocery store, a stranger snapped at me for cutting her in line. The accusation was unfair, a simple misunderstanding, but the hostility in her voice stung more than it should have. On one night in the following days, in a rush to leave the parking lot, my mind scattered from exhaustion, I misjudged the distance between my car and a pillar. The sickening scrape of metal against concrete sent a jolt through me, frustration bubbling up as I stared at the damage. Avoidable, if only I had been more careful. My heart sank. Another mistake, another thing going wrong. Minor inconveniences kept piling up, each one demanding more patience than I felt I had left. At first, I told myself these were just small annoyances, bumps in the road that didn't mean anything. But as they accumulated, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was trapped in a pattern of misfortune. And then the bigger blows came. One early morning, my mom slipped in the bathroom and fell hard. In an instant, my world shifted. She needed help, doctor's visits, daily care, reassurance that she'd be okay. I found myself juggling my responsibilities while watching over her, exhaustion pressing down on me like a weight I couldn't shake. At work, an opportunity I had poured my heart into fell through, leaving me questioning if all my efforts had been in vain. The fear and helplessness consumed me, leaving me impossible to focus on anything else. The setbacks piled up like relentless waves crashing against me, each one eroding my sense of stability. My confidence wavered, doubt crept in, worry became my constant companion, a tight grip on my chest that made even the simplest tasks feel overwhelming. I found myself holding my breath without realizing it, anxiety coiling in my stomach like a knot that refused to loosen. No matter how hard I tried to push forward, it felt like life was pushing back, harder. I didn't want to admit how much it was affecting me. I told myself to be strong, to push through, to pretend everything was fine. But inside, I was exhausted. My mind raced with worst-case scenarios, fixating on every misfortune, tying them all together into a narrative of doom, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was losing control. One night, after yet another exhausting day filled with setbacks, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong with me. Why did misfortune seem to follow me so relentlessly in such a short span of time? Was it just coincidence, or was there some unseen force at play? I found myself entertaining strange thoughts. Maybe my energy was off. Maybe I needed to seek out a medium or perform some kind of ritual to cleanse the streak of bad luck. I confided in my best friend, hoping for answers. Instead of giving me a solution, he helped me see things from a different perspective, reminding me that it was just anxiety clouding my thoughts. He, too, had been through his share of difficulties, missed opportunities, unexpected losses, days when nothing seemed to go right. Yet, he didn't see them as signs of cosmic misalignment or personal failure. To him, they were just part of life, challenges to be faced and moved past rather than omens to be feared. And that was when it struck me. Anxiety, I realized it thrives on fear. It whispers doubts into my mind, magnifies my struggles, and convinces me that I am alone in my suffering. I was scared of failure, scared of disappointing others, scared of an uncertain future that I couldn't control. But I also realized that I was not alone. So many people face moments of crisis, times when life feels unbearably heavy. but we rarely talk about it openly, fearing judgment or appearing weak. The difference wasn't in what happened, but in how we saw it. My mind had been stringing these incidents together, turning them into evidence of some larger misfortune, when in reality, they were just isolated moments. Unpleasant, yes, but not insurmountable. Anxiety had taken hold, amplifying every setback, making me feel like I was spiraling when in truth, I was simply navigating life's inevitable ups and downs. Then I decided I didn't want to live in a constant state of fear and anxiety anymore. I wanted to find a way to heal, not by ignoring my feelings, but by understanding them. The first step was acceptance. I had to accept that life is unpredictable, that setbacks are inevitable, and that I am not defined by my struggles. I began to shift my perspective. What if, instead of seeing challenges as punishments, I saw them as lessons? What if, instead of resisting uncertainty, I embraced it? I started with small steps. When I reached out to customer service again and calmly explained the situation, they immediately issued a replacement for the lost package. I followed my dentist's advice and began wearing a night guard to protect my teeth from grinding, hoping to prevent future issues. The incident at the grocery store, which had lingered in my mind for far too long, became a lesson in letting go. What was done, and there was no point in replaying it endlessly. I realized that if I encountered a similar situation in the future, I could choose to respond with more patience and understanding. I also took action to fix what I could. I brought my scratched car to an auto shop recommended by a friend, and in just 2 days, they restored it to look as good as new. But above all, the most important thing was my mom's recovery. After 3 months, she was finally back to full health. Through it all, I began to see that shifting my perspective made a real difference. By choosing to focus on solutions rather than dwelling on setbacks, I freed myself from the weight of fear and anxiety. Instead of feeling trapped by misfortunes, I learned that even in difficult moments, I still had control over how I faced them. Healing is not a straight path. There were still days when doubt crept in, when I felt exhausted by life's unpredictability, when I questioned whether I was truly moving forward. At first, I wanted nothing more than to withdraw from people, to shut the world out, and avoid the weight of expectations. But over time, I realized that isolating myself only deepened my struggles. Opening my heart, connecting with others, and showing kindness, not just to them but to myself, became a way of healing. I allowed myself to feel my emotions without guilt. When the anxiety surfaced, instead of pushing it away, I acknowledged it. I hear you, I see you, but you do not control me. I practiced mindfulness, focusing on the present moment rather than drowning in worries about the future. Breathing deeply, I reminded myself that I was safe, that this moment was all I needed to navigate. I learned that not every problem needed to be solved immediately. Sometimes the best thing to do was to step back, let things be for a while, and trust that another day might bring a better solution. Most importantly, I stopped letting negativity consume me. I had spent too much time focusing on the half-empty glass, forgetting that the other half was still full. Even when the worst happened, there was always a way forward. Maybe not instantly, maybe not in the way I had imagined, but in time, the path would clear. That, I realized, was the way life worked. A test of patience, faith, and resilience. Slowly, the weight on my chest began to lift. I found moments of peace in simple things, a walk outside, a heartfelt conversation, a deep breath after a long day. I realized that while I couldn't control everything that happened in life, I could control how I responded, and that made all the difference. If you are feeling lost, remember that you are not alone. Life will always have its ups and downs. Never let worries consume you. Find your own way to unwind, to breathe, to regain your balance. Your struggles do not define you. Your resilience does. You are stronger than you realize, and no matter how overwhelming things may seem, you have the power to face them in your own way, at your own pace. Give yourself permission to feel, to heal, to grow. Trust that even in the darkest moments, light still exists. You just have to keep moving toward it. And when everything feels like it's falling apart, remember this. Sometimes things have to break before they can be rebuilt into something even stronger. And trust yourself. You will find your way. Thank you for watching. Take good care of yourself. See you next time.